Have you noticed how life seems to move faster the older we get? The days blur into weeks. Work, errands, deadlines, responsibilities. Somewhere between the emails, the meetings, the deadlines, and the routines, we stop to realize we've been running on autopilot. We do what needs to be done, but inside something feels missing. It's as if the joy that once came so naturally now takes effort to find. The freedom we used to feel now replaced by duty and obligation. And the adventurous, carefree part of us quietly tucked away behind the weight of being an adult. And then one day we pause and ask ourselves, when did I change? When did that hopeful, light-hearted version of me become someone more guarded, cautious, or maybe even skeptical? Life has a way of reshaping us. The furnace of work stress, failed relationships, disappointment, yes, it refines us, but sometimes it also burns away the softer part of who we are. We call that growing up, but deep down, it can feel like something got lost, something we didn't mean to lose. Our joy, courage, our ability to trust or hope again. Today I want to talk about restoration. Not the kind that fixes what's broken, but the kind that makes something whole again. Hello and welcome back to Journey Life Together, a self-improvement podcast. I'm your host Roland, a clinical counselor, marriage and family therapist, and a relationship coach. Allow me to be your guide to journey life together with you. This year, we'll be exploring an overarching theme, restoration. And in today's episode, A New Beginning, we will explore what it means to be renewed after life has weathered us and how to begin again from within. So wherever you are, whether you're still on your way to work, winding down after a long day, or simply taking a quiet moment, join me as we slow down, pause, reflect, and rediscover what it truly means to live with purpose and wholeness. Dear friends, I hope you have started your year well. Have you been keeping up with your New Year's resolution? Or have some old habits started to slip back in? Maybe you've been trying to push forward, but somehow it feels harder to keep up with life. For many of us, the days blend into one another. Work, family, routines. Life becomes a constant motion of doing, striving, and achieving. But somewhere in all that busyness, we rarely pause to ask, how has all this shaped us? Has it molded the way we feel about life, about others, or about ourselves? When something painful happens, a disappointment, setback, failed relationships, do we tell ourselves, it's fine, I just need to move on? When work crushes our spirit, do we say, I'll just push through? And without realizing, this relentless posture of resonating forward, of always doing, always pushing ourselves, can slowly start to erode our being. The carefree spirit can slowly turn cautious. The hopeful heart can grow skeptical. And before we know it, we begin to live not from a posture of confidence and joy, but from one of doubt and fear. Fear that if we don't keep up, we'll fall behind. Fear that if we let our guard down, something bad might happen again. Fear that if we trust too much, we'll be hurt once more. And over time, that fear can shape the way we see life. It can narrow our capacity to feel, to hope, to love, and to connect, to the point we stop noticing what our struggles are trying to teach us because we're just too busy outrunning the discomfort. And here's the quiet truth: when we ignore what's difficult, we also lose touch with what's meaningful. Our pain, if unacknowledged, can become a silent force that defines us. And the longer we overlook it, the further we drift, not just from joy, but from ourselves. When life moves fast, we often tell ourselves that the best way forward is to stay strong, to keep going, to keep ourselves busy, to keep smiling even when times are tough. And for a while, it works. We move on, we get things done. But what happens to the emotions we never had time to feel? The disappointments we had brushed aside, the heartbreaks we laughed off, the quiet moments of loss we told ourselves it didn't matter. The thing is, they don't vanish. They wait in the corner of our hearts, under the weight of our routines, behind the smiles we wear for the world. And slowly, without noticing, they can begin to shape us. We become more cautious, controlled, or maybe even distant. Not because we've stopped caring, but because we've forgotten how to feel and how to connect with our vulnerabilities. This is the quiet cost of life for being on autopilot mode when we move too fast without reflection. We may outrun pain for a season, but we also outrun meaning. The very experiences that could have deepened us to teach us empathy, patience, and wisdom might have remained buried or untouched. So perhaps restoration doesn't begin with doing anything new. It begins with stopping long enough to listen to the parts of us that are still waiting to be understood, to revisit the difficult stories of our life we have tucked away, to reconnect with the big emotions we have been denying. Because the truth is, what we don't attend to will continue to attend to us, and what we don't make meaning of will quietly shape the way we see ourselves and the world. A new beginning then isn't about escaping what has been, it's about turning towards it gently, curiously, and asking, what is this moment in my life trying to teach me? What part of me needs to be acknowledged before I can move forward? When we can sit with those questions, not to fix, but to understand, something inside of us begins to align again. That's where restoration begins. So maybe a new beginning isn't about setting bigger goals, chasing new milestones, or turning a new page too quickly. Maybe it's about slowing down long enough to listen to the parts of us that we have ignored. The world teaches us to move fast, to do, to achieve, to get ahead. But perhaps restoration begins when we choose to pause, when we allow ourselves to reconnect with what we feel, with what truly matters, and with who we are becoming. If life has felt heavy lately, or if joy feels like something we have to earn, perhaps this is your invitation to begin again. Not by starting over, but by returning to your heart, to your meaning, and to your center. Every ending carries traces of a new beginning. Every silence holds the possibility of renewal. And maybe this year, the restoration you seek isn't found in doing more, but in becoming whole again right where you are. So as you move through this week, I invite you to pause even for a moment and ask yourself, what is one area of your life that needs restoration? Is it to reconnect with your emotions again? To rebuild trust in relationships? To rediscover purpose and meaning in your journey? Or to regain confidence and move forward with less fear and doubt? Because when we make space to listen, new beginnings always find their way in. This episode marks the start of our year-long journey through the theme of restoration, It'll be a year of reflection, renewal, and rediscovering what it means to live whole again. In the months ahead, we'll explore different topics on restoration together, such as learning how to rebuild trust in relationships, regain confidence in ourselves, to rekindle hope and joy as we find balance in a world that never stops. Each conversation will guide us to slow down, reflect, and realign, so that by the end of this year, we'll look back and see how far we've been restored, quietly, deeply, and meaningfully. Once again, thank you for joining me in this episode of Journey Life Together. If this episode spoke to you, share it with someone who may need a reminder to pause and begin again. Before we conclude today's episode, here's an important disclaimer. The views, expressions, and suggestions shared in this episode are for educational and informational purposes only. They're not intended to, nor should they replace medical advice given to you by your therapist, doctor, or other healthcare professionals. If you have any questions or concerns about your situation, challenges, or conditions that you have become aware of while listening to this episode, please seek advice from your therapist, doctor, or another qualified healthcare professional. Until next time, stay well and join me again in the next episode of Journey Life Together.